Welcome back to our channel, where we bring you the latest insights and behind-the-scenes stories from the British royal family. Today, we turn our attention to King Charles III, a man often seen as cautious and deliberate, yet capable of extraordinary tenderness when it comes to his family. His most recent quiet act of compassion came amid one of the monarchy's most uncomfortable storms, the renewed scandal surrounding Prince Andrew. As Andrew's reputation imploded yet again, this time under the weight of leaked emails that appeared to contradict his previous denials about his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, and with the release of Virginia Giuffre's tell-all memoir reigniting old controversies, the crisis extended beyond the disgraced prince himself. It cast a long, painful shadow over his daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, two women who had built their lives away from the royal front line, only to find themselves dragged back into the glare of scandal through no fault of their own. But within the turmoil, King Charles made a deeply personal and strategic decision, one designed to protect the monarchy's integrity while shielding his nieces from collateral damage. Rather than publicly stripping Andrew of his remaining royal titles, a move that would have permanently stained the York family's position and possibly destabilized Beatrice and Eugenie's royal styling, Charles chose a more delicate path. Behind closed doors, he orchestrated a quiet compromise. Andrew would voluntarily relinquish his titles and duties, allowing the palace to frame the act as his own decision. In reality, sources describe it as anything but voluntary. The king's patience, already worn thin, had reached what one insider called a tipping point. The newly surfaced emails were the final straw, the proof that left Charles no room to delay. Yet rather than humiliate his brother outright, the king acted with a kind of measured mercy. The decision, while firm and final, was executed with care, a way to contain the fallout and, most importantly, to keep Beatrice and Eugenie from bearing the sins of their father. Former royal correspondent Jenny Bond observed that Andrew's public statement following his demotion offered subtle clues about the pressure he was under. He spoke not in the singular I, but in the collective we, a telling sign that this was not his choice alone. There's no word of apology or contrition. He's been forcibly lowered onto his sword. If the king hadn't asked him to fall, he would have been pushed very firmly onto it. For King Charles, this was never just about punishing his brother. It was about protecting the future. His role as monarch requires him to balance emotion with duty, and his decision reflected both. The monarchy cannot afford repeated humiliation, but nor can it afford to lose the quiet dignity of those like Beatrice, whose loyalty and discretion have made her a stabilizing figure behind palace walls. By choosing not to strip Andrew outright, Charles preserved a crucial distinction. He dealt with wrongdoing while sparing innocence. He demonstrated that justice could coexist with compassion, that leadership could still be humane. Insiders say the king has always had a soft spot for Beatrice, admiring her resilience and the quiet grace with which she has handled years of public scrutiny. In the end, King Charles' move was both a moral stand and a gesture of love, a clear message that the monarchy will be held to account, but also that the next generation will not be defined by the mistakes of those before them. Amid scandal and shame, the king's subtle act ensured that Beatrice and Eugenie's place within the royal family and their dignity would remain intact. And perhaps, in this quiet balancing act between justice and mercy, we glimpse the true measure of King Charles' reign, one defined not by grand gestures, but by the compassion that endures even in crisis. Princess Beatrice's hopes for becoming a working royal are unlikely to happen as a result of her parents, Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson's recent scandals, it has been reported. While no plan was in place, it is believed Beatrice wanted to help the firm by carrying out royal engagements, and that the king had always been impressed with his niece on her own charity appearances. A source close to the princess said, Beatrice does want to be a working royal, and she wants to do royal events to help her uncle because she'd enjoy them and she would be good at the job. Charles apparently appreciates this. There had at one stage been a feeling that Bea could have been lined up one day. She's never put a foot wrong, don't forget, and she shouldn't be punished for the sins of her father. But the king's courtiers are concerned Andrew could try to get in via the back door by exerting influence over her. This rejection appears to have spurred Beatrice to redirect her energy. In August 2025, she registered a new technology business called Purpose Economy Intelligence Limited, formally stepping away from speculation about royal work. This move marks a practical shift for the 7-year-old, who has consistently shown an interest in innovation and education over the years. The venture is seen as her seeking independence, while also spotlighting the charitable causes she values. This contrasts with the optimism earlier in 2024, when the cancer diagnoses of Catherine and Charles led to talk of fresh blood. Both Beatrice and her sister, Princess Eugenie, were considered potential stand-ins for Catherine during her treatment. Beatrice will be stepping up the number of engagements she does. Apparently, Charles was particularly eager, holding the opinion that they have grown into very sensible, lovely women who could be a real asset. Those plans never materialized, adding that senior aides and perhaps Catherine and Prince William were worried about the optics of relying on the York sisters. They sense that Beatrice and Eugenie feel that, as virtual outcasts themselves, they have far more in common with Harry and Meghan than with any other part of the family. Now, the picture looks more bleak than ever. While still quite popular with the public, Beatrice operates outside the working royal circle.